Ford has announced some pretty major investments into batteries and vehicle manufacturing plants in the United States within the next 4 to 5 years. Over $11 billion worth of investments going into Kentucky and Tennessee. With these factories, they're apparently going to be able to produce well over 100 gigawatt hours a year of production, which in the grand scheme of what kind of numbers we're expecting from Tesla in the next decade, that's definitely not going to put them in the lead when it comes to EV production, but I do want to applaud it and give some credit to Ford because honestly, this is the type of investing and commitment that I think Legacy Auto should be giving to batteries right now. I'm glad to see VW is doing similar things over in Europe, wanting to ramp up their batteries faster and work on more and more electric vehicle manufacturing plants. It of course is a really great thing to know that they're building these factories in places that have had their job market intensely hurt by the shutdown of lots of coal mines, so knowing that there's going to be some more people looking for work, and instead of mining coal that gets to be burned and pumped into the atmosphere that we all have to breathe, now those people can be working towards vehicles that help offset our emissions and help get us closer to a more sustainable future. So Ford obviously has been making the most popular vehicles in the world for many decades now, so knowing that they are willing to put their money where their mouth is and actually devote a ton of money into something that I think is the fundamental problem. I probably sound like a broken record on this channel quite often because you guys have heard me time and time again say, this doesn't matter, I don't care about the marketing, I don't care about the prices, I don't care about the specs, because the fundamental issue with EVs is that we cannot build them fast enough. It's not that we haven't marketed them the right way, it's not that we haven't hit 500 miles of range, it's not really even about getting the price down low enough. It all comes down to the production capacity of our batteries. So as much as I dwell on that bad news and the reality of the situation, I also just wanted to focus on the positive side here and be grateful that Ford is actually addressing this main problem and doing what Tesla has been doing for a while now, which is investing in more battery production ramping. The only downside of this announcement, hate to kind of rain on this parade, is the fact that they're not expecting these factories that they've announced to actually be pumping out vehicles until 2025. That I really hope can be accelerated because I don't think it's fast enough, and as encouraging as it was to hear that Ford wants 40% of its entire vehicle lineup to be all electric by 2030, I really hope they can hit that in a sooner amount of time because Tesla's going to be ramping up production, and startup EV brands like Rivian and Lucid are already beginning to enter the market, and they're probably going to have a lot more market dominance by that point. But that being said, Ford has a huge brand reputation behind them. There's a lot of diehard Ford fans, especially in my own friend and family group, that I know are always going to be buying Ford vehicles moving forward. So making sure that they have as great and as capable EV options out there is wonderful. I'm happy to say I've actually been spotting a lot of Ford Mach-E's in my area. Despite those dealer markups, a lot of people seem to be enjoying them, and I'm glad to see them becoming more and more popular. It's also exciting to see how popular an all-electric Mustang can be, even if it's not really a Mustang at heart at that type of thing. Plus, Ford has been doubling the production capacity for the F-150 Lightning, which seems to have a ton of interest and a ton of orders going in for it simply because it's coming from a known automaker that's been around for a long time, and a lot of people know and love the F-150. It's been the best-selling vehicle for many decades now, so making an electric option that clearly has captivated a lot of people's interest is a great thing for the EV community as a whole, and frankly, I think that we need more legacy automakers making these types of announcements, making these types of steps and saying, yes, we're going to build out new battery manufacturing plants, new electric vehicle manufacturing plants, because that is addressing the fundamental flaw, which again is not about range numbers, it's not even about pricing, it's not about marketing by any means. It all comes down to, can you build enough vehicles? And once you solve that problem, once you can build enough of them, the pricing, the range numbers, all of that will start to take care of itself, because the operating costs and the margins of each vehicle can get lower because you're selling them at higher volume, and when you're selling them at higher volume, you're probably able to upsell people on higher range options that may cost a bit more than the lower range options. But basically, I think that it's good that Ford is catching on to figuring out what the exact problem is. I just hope they can accelerate those timelines and get these factories up and running a bit earlier than 2025. And also, if they're investing a lot into battery production, it might be worth looking into how exactly to make it good battery production so that you're not ending up mass producing a ton of cells that don't have that high a cycle life. It's another great thing about about Tesla's working on the 4680 program, because those batteries are designed from the ground up to be rapidly scalable, and as great as these numbers sound of Ford being able to produce over 100 gigawatt hours worth of batteries within the next 4 years, Tesla, with their factories that are about to come online, are hoping to ramp up to well past 100 or 200 gigawatt hours from each location. So assuming that everyone stays true to their word, or some companies may take a little bit longer than others, still sounds like Tesla is being far more ambitious with their battery production capacity than Ford. But overall, whoever can build the most batteries is going to sell the most vehicles. So feel free to let me know how you guys feel about Ford investing heavily into these factories, and do you think it's the right move? Do you think it's too late? Do they have a shot at staying alive over the next few decades? I personally think the governments will bail them out if they really need to go bankrupt, but let me know what you guys are thinking down below. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care.